Hello everyone and welcome back to Starkeep Ormstead. So my name is Samantha and I'm going to make this video for you. So what is this video going to contain? Information about America. It's Independence Day. What did you expect? Information you're not going to see anywhere else about hot topics that blow your mind. But these videos need to be made, folks. So hang in there to the end. If I showed you this headline, you would think that Americans were not proud to be an American, correct? What if I told you that only 1,000 people were polled with those questions? 1,000 people out of 400 million, and they created a headline like this. Folks, this is why people need to stay away from reading and reacting to mainstream media. So if you like up-to-date, truthful content, do me a favor, hit subscribe, drop me a comment, hit the like button. Let's jump into this. Let's start with this nastiness, and I want to know what you think.
On thongs and some greasy legs and a bip-bop skirt, and you're our praise and worship leader, y'all, something is wrong. Something is absolutely, positively wrong with that. There's a time and a place for it all. And Sunday morning service is not a time for you to show us your nipples in your titties. That's not the time to do it. And I gotta give it to you plain talk, because you don't understand nothing else. That's not the time. Where is your bra? How are you coming to church on a Sunday morning to worship God and you have no bra on? I'm not getting this. I'm not getting this. Jumpsuits on, no underwear on. Okay, so we don't wear girdles no more. But have you ever heard of Spanx? Have you ever heard of something that keeps you from jiggling like that? And then you won't sit down. You're the person that just won't sit down because you come to church because you think you're cute. People of God, every time you look around, we are believers. And there's something on you that's got to be naked. For some reason, the women of God in this hour don't want to put on clothes. And I don't know why. What is it? Because we finally got enough money to buy titties? Because we finally got enough money to go and buy extra behind? And now everything you wear got to be tight, got to be sexy? So now sex appeal is on an all-time high. Not worship, not brokenness, not Lord, here I am, not God, purge me and cleanse me. God, I don't even know who I'm talking to today. I can't take it no more. And it hurts. It hurts because we're the Christians. It hurts. And we're the Christians and we looking like hoes. I'm sorry. We're the Christians. And we up in the pulpit with leather pants.
If you didn't know that that was about church, if you didn't know that what we're talking about are your music directors or your interpretive dancers, if you didn't know that that was all recorded in a church, you would have thought you were at any secular event. In other words, you would have assumed that this was on regular TV. When did we stop having any decency as women? When did we think it was okay to literally wear clothes so tight that people can see every part of our body? I'm curious what you think. I know what I think. I know what I think, and most of you probably already know what I think if you've been here any time with me. But I'm curious if you guys think that that's okay. If you think it's okay, wear what you want. Dance however you want, jiggle it and wiggle it, however you please, in God's house or out. If you're okay and down with that, give me a thumbs up. If you think that's just not the place, that women have lost their ability to be modest because it's all about them, it's not about praise and worship, it's not about glorifying God, it's about glorifying their bodies, give me a thumbs up. On to our next topic. What do you think about this one?
Our country, the people who are flowing in, there are no disabled people. There are no elders, like none, right? There are pretty much no babies. There are childbearing age women. Everyone's very fit. They don't carry luggage. They are having, and I did original reporting on this and broke this story. There's a 3-country staging area south of the United States that the combination of the UN and our own State Department has put together to solicit, support, feed, shepherd, ferry, transition, and then bus and fly these millions of people of military age and military demeanor to certain incredibly sensitive areas around the country. O'Hare Airport in Chicago, Boston Logan in Boston, and then to house them, which has never happened before in the history of U.S. immigration. Not my grandparents, not my dad. Never did the government give anyone from anywhere, let alone descendants of enslaved
Okay,
people.
why did I show you this? Why did I make a point of showing you this one clip? Folks, listen to me. We're celebrating Independence Day. America's celebrating the day that it broke away from Great Britain, became its own nation with its own constitution that regulates how our government is run. We have now, under the current administration, allowed over 30 million illegal aliens into our country. Okay? Look at this. This is Massachusetts. Look at how many people are 200% below poverty. Now, this is just illegal aliens. It's like that everywhere. Guys, look. If you like to support our channel, I'm going to drop how you can do that in the top. We were demonetized. We have a mission trip coming up soon, going back to Maui. Anybody that donates any amount between now and Saturday morning, you're going to get a link to a Zoom. You and I will be Zooming this Sunday, the 7th. We're going to have a conversation face to face. Now, make sure I have your email and memo when you drop that donation. Let me tell you this. Anytime you allow people who are willing to work, because they're coming from third world countries, they're willing to work for $4 or $5 an hour. Why? Well, because, see, the government supports them in ways that you and I don't get that support. They don't have to pay taxes. Their housing is free. They're given food for free. Never in American history have we totally supported illegal immigrants coming into this country. You could come. You're probably going to be deported. Come in correctly or don't come at all. This was how the Democrat Party was in the 60s.
Hated illegal immigration. He was Hispanic, obviously, and definitely on the left, but he fought to keep illegal Mexican immigrants out of this country. He understood that peasants from Latin America will always work for less than Americans will. That's why employers prefer them. Chavez knew that. As long as we have a poor country bordering California, he once explained, it's going to be very difficult to win strikes. In 1969, Chavez led a march down the center of California to protest the hiring of illegal immigrant produce pickers. Marching alongside him was Democratic Senator Walter Mondale and the Reverend Ralph Abernathy, the longtime aide to Martin Luther King. 10 years later, Chavez dispatched armed union members into the desert.
You can't vote Democrat in this day and age and honestly, truly be on the side of good. It's not just the illegal immigration. It's the insanity like supporting Ukraine, pulling help from Israel when they're still hostages almost a year after what happened. Now watch this.
Satan would kill God if he could, but he can't. So he kills babies because he knows it wounds the heart of the Father. Absolutely. And causes chaos on the earth. You see, abortion is actually the sacrament of Satan. Because abortion says, you must die so I can live. But Christ says, no, I must die so you can live. And chooses to enter human history in a uterus of all locations to redeem mankind from their sins. This is why Peter Kraft, the Catholic philosopher, who's still alive today, and he said, don't you know, church, abortion is the demonic parody of the Eucharist. That's why it uses the same holy words. This is my body, but with the opposite blasphemous meaning. Yeah. Do you think it's a coincidence that the central phrase...
Now let that sink in. When the Democrat Party is pushing so heavily for abortions, even late term, and immediately within a few minutes of actual birth, folks. It's demonic. You can't keep sitting the fence, Christians. You need to understand what your party stands for, okay? And a lot of what the Democrat Party currently stands for is anti-Jesus. So just quit calling yourself a Christian, because you don't know the same Jesus I know if you can get behind any of those types of policies, folks. Now, the biggest difference between red and blue, other than ideological views, is how we handle money. You currently have almost every blue state in billions of dollars of deficit, and your red states showing surplus. Your blue states, Democrat ran, so taxed. The people are taxed beyond belief, and they keep voting for these policies like it's going to get any better. They want to put you basically on one salary. Everybody's going to be on Social Security if they have their way. Do you really want to be stuck making one amount your whole life? Where's the drive to become better, to get more education, to work harder? Innovation is not driven by a set salary. Innovation is driven by desire to get all that you can get and be all that you can be. So most of you have been hearing a whole lot of rumbling about Chevron being overturned by the Supreme Court. Let me tell you why it's a good thing. In the last 50 years, Congress has gotten to where they write bills that are very ambiguous. Then they leave it up to governing people, governing bodies, right, that were not voted in by you and I to decide how to regulate the law. Let me repeat that. These are not elected officials. These are federal agencies coming in, telling you this is what this law means. Point in case, there was a farmer who had 0.8 of an acre, not even a whole acre, that the USDA decided was wetlands. This gentleman did his own independent studies and could prove the history on his land, that was actually basically sinkholes left over from trees that were there in the 60s. The USDA pulled the Chevron card and said, nope, we're not going to come back out and reevaluate. We have made our decision. We are the governing body on this law. The Supreme Court said, hey, guess what? Congress needs to write better laws. If Congress is going to say you can or can't do this, then they need to be clear and precise language. They actually have to do their stinking jobs. They can't leave it up to people who were unelected and who are just working for a federal agency, giving that federal agency way more power than the Constitution allowed. What you're going to hear from the left is that this is a death bell to democracy. No, it's not. It's making our Congress people do their stinking job. Then it's allowing the judicial branch to do its job, which is regulate and determine what the law means. It's not allowing the EPA or the FDA or the USDA or any of the other alphabet groups the ability to come in and force Americans to do something that wasn't specifically written in the law. It is a win. If you believe in the Constitution of America, Chevron being overturned is a win. Just like Roe versus Wade is a win if you believe in the Constitution. Because they didn't say abortion was outlawed. They simply said every state has the right to vote. The people have the voice. The people make the decision, not the government. That's where we're going wrong in this country. We have people that legitimately believe the government should make the decisions. That is not how a constitutional republic is set up. That is how a democracy is set up. So when you hear people screaming, they're killing the democracy. Yes, we are, and we should. Watch this.
Those clips and tell folks what the Heritage Foundation is doing to protect the rule of law and to protect individuals in this great country. Pleasure to have you on.
Well, Professor, my great friend, thanks for filling in and doing a great job. Three things. Number one, in spite of all this nonsense from the left, we are going to win. We're in the process of taking this country back. No one in the audience should be despairing. No one should be discouraged. We ought to be really encouraged by what happened yesterday. And in spite of all of the injustice, which, of course, friends and audience of this show, of our friend Steve know, we are going to prevail. Number two, to the point of the clips and of course, your preview of the fact that I am an early American historian and love the Constitution, that Supreme Court ruling yesterday on immunity is vital, apoplectic right now. The reason that so many anchors on MSNBC, for example, are losing their minds daily is because our side is winning. And so I come full circle in this response and just want to encourage you with some substance that we are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
Now, I don't know about you, but I think that was beautifully said. The revolution will stay bloodless if you let it, because America's going to get straight. Discussed this with my pastor the other day, and I said, Pastor King, I'm hearing a lot of people on YouTube say that America is under judgment. And he said, well, what do you think? And I said, I'm not under judgment. I'm the righteous. Why would my God punish me for what the sinner down the street did? That's like spanking your oldest child because the youngest drew on the walls. And he said, you're right. He said, there will come a day that God will punish even the righteous for the mistakes that we made. But it's not now. Americans are so willing to lay down now. We just roll over. Just look, throw me a bone and I'm happy. Well, I don't know about you, but I want a steak. Tired of a bone. You should be too, friend. And let's clarify one more thing. How to block somebody today, and I had to kind of, come back at somebody who said, why don't you and your husband donate your plane tickets to Maui to fire victims? Because I didn't pay for the plane tickets. They were donated. And since you so nicely asked, I'm going to explain that to you. A friend of mine who works for Delta didn't work during COVID, didn't take a paycheck to save the company. And Delta awarded her with 10 free tickets. And she donated those tickets to me. They're not my tickets. She didn't spend money and I didn't spend money. So who are we going to donate that to? Next thing, any of you actually seen any fire victims on any social media platforms? People talk about the fires. Where are the victims? Do you have names of victims? That's my point. That's my point, folks. So look, when you hear these naysayers, and they'll come, Satan always comes to kill, steal, and destroy, to cause confusion. To me, those people like that just do not understand where God has placed me and what God has asked me to do and what God has called me to do. The Bible told me that I would stand in the presence of great men and that I would dine with kings. And it's coming true in my life. You can either be part of it or not. Nobody's twisting your arm. It's a free world, right? Free will. I invite you to because I want you to be blessed by it too, folks. We pay for our hotel out of our pockets. I don't just do YouTube. Do a lot of things. If you watch me for any period of time, I do a lot of stuff. Pay for my hotel through my own money. My vehicle through my own money. So everything we're collecting from now until we leave, guess what? It's going to the fire victims. If you want to bless them, bless them. If you don't, don't. But do you have to be such a negative Nelly? I'm so sorry that you don't do things the way that I do things. But I learned a long time ago, if I sow, I reap. If I have a corn seed and I eat it because I'm hungry, instead of planting it so that I can reap it later, well, the little discomfort that went away with that one seed is going to lead to starvation down the street. I should have planted it and trusted God, because the concept of sowing and reaping works in a garden, but it also works with your money, your time, all of it. Your attitude, all of it, folks. Don't listen to negative people. When God tells you to do something, invite others to row in your boat, but you keep going, baby, even if you're the only one paddling. You keep going, because the blessing is at the end. You go receive your blessing, and let them sit there and let them deal with their covetousness and their maliciousness and their bearing false witness against good people. Let them reap what God has for them. You go get your blessing, friend. Like, comment, subscribe. We love you guys. You're going to want to be in the Zoom with me Sunday, folks. I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing. And I've only got about 14 slots left. So if you're going to donate, today's the day. Love you guys. I don't know about you, but I'm not boxing God in. 3.5 years ago, I was on food stamps, and I was well below the poverty level. Every year since our salvation, we have doubled our income, and now I am a food stamp retailer. What does that mean, Sam? It means that people can come here with their EBT cards, and I provide them food. God can take you from A and bring you all the way to Z, folks, and he'll do it quickly. He'll redeem your time. He'll give you back everything the locust ate, but not if you allow the government to set you at one limit. I hear a lot of people say, well, I'm on Social Security, I'm on disability, and that's it. I mean, you're okay with that. My 82-year-old father was selling honey today. He made $80 today selling his honey. You know why? You know why? Because he doesn't depend on his Social Security. He makes money all the time. He works so hard, 82. He recycles cans. He harvests and sells honey. He harvests and sells worm castings, and now he makes YouTube videos. If my 82, almost 83-year-old daddy can do it, figure it out, folks. Ask God to show you how to use what you have in your hand to make more money. It's not a sin. God, Jesus, does not want you in such poverty you can't keep your air conditioning at a comfortable setting, baby. That is not how your daddy wants you to live. The joy of the Lord is our strength. The wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just, and you, my friend, are the just. I tell you these not to discourage you, but to encourage you. We are not stuck in one amount of money because the government says this is what your Social Security is worth. This is all the years of you killing yourself working. This is all your worth. That's not what God says. He says you are above and not beneath. He says you are a lender, not a borrower. So start speaking God's word into your life today. Go to bed tonight asking God today on Independence Day, 1, what does he want you to do to help change the tide and trajectory of this country? 2, how can he help you make money? And when he does do that for you, you tithe your 10%. Stop listening to these lying demons that tell you that's Old Testament, you don't need to tithe. Let me tell you something. There's a promise to a tither. Want to know why my truck has 300,000 miles and still running, folks, and running well? Because this chick's a tither. Tithe. Quit trying to cut God out of your life and let him in. Let him take the reins. Because let me tell you something. Look at this world. This world is a world that cut God out of it. How's it looking? Is it looking good to you? Not to me.